Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are back today with another video. I needed to make this video because Auburn's football program is falling apart. And I know people don't usually talk about other teams outside of Georgia, Alabama. And that, honestly, I got caught up into that in the middle of the season. I mean, maybe a little bit. I feel like I did cover other teams, but not as well as I should have and could have. I covered the NFL. Excuse me. I covered the NFL well, I think, last year. I'm still covering it well, but yeah. But you gotta. But yeah. Point is, Auburn's football program is falling apart. Now their basketball program, number one ranked team in the country, they're playing Alabama up here. You know, I think it's going to be a competitive game. I really think Alabama's basketball team is the most inconsistent team in the country. And that's not even an insult, man. When Alabama's basketball team plays their best, like they did against Auburn the first time they lost by 4 and beat Baylor, they legitimately look like a top 15 team. They look like that they can, compete and go deep into March Madness. But it's just like when you play these other teams, Missouri and Georgia, they're not motivated and they don't care. Nate Oates is not, and a lot of it falls on the defense. That's, in my opinion, been Alabama's main problem this season. But nonetheless, I think they're a good basketball team. They're just unmotivated in some games. My opinion, really, that's giving Alabama credit for saying that when they're at their best, they're at their best. Alabama's football team is a little bit inconsistent as well this year, but they at least won their football games outside of 1 and 2. We're not getting into that though. That's not. But let's get into Auburn's football program. I don't do previews this early in the season, nor will I ever do previews this early in the season. Although it does not mean that you can't cover college football. It does not mean that. That's not what this means. You can always cover college football. But I refuse to make predictions and records. It's just too early for that stuff, man. Rosters are not finalized till May 1st. And even at May 1st, players get kicked off the team. Stuff still happens, but May 1st is the safe date. The transfer portal's over. Signing day's coming up soon, so we have that going. But let's get to the point of the video where you all clicked on for it. Auburn's football program is falling apart. And I'm not trying to over exaggerate here. Their football program is falling apart. Auburn's been that one team since around 2000 to really the past 12, 15 years. Auburn has not had they've had a well-rounded team, but, for some of their elite teams, they were not as well-rounded as other elite teams. Instead, there's one or two position groups where they completely outclassed a lot of other teams and were able to take advantage of it. 2010, it was quarterback and Nick Fairley. Cam Newton and Nick Fairley, that was their team. 2013, it was their read option running, their trickery, outclassing. Same thing as around 2010. 2017 and 2019 and 2018, all those years where they were pretty good. It was their defensive line, Their other positions weren't as good, but their defensive line was just as good as anybody else's in the country. And running backs. Can't forget running backs. And because of those two position groups, running backs and defensive linemen, it got them past. And they were able to do that against teams. So read option offense, trick teams, 2016, this year, This year, it was the DBs that stepped up and really limited teams like Alabama. They always have those couple of position groups that can outclass and be on the same level as some other teams, but they're just not as well rounded. And you know what? That's just been the truth of Auburn football for the past 12 or 15 years. Trickery, all this, all that. Really, and eventually it falls apart. And now that's what's happening. They don't run the read option offense anymore, so no more trickery. Um, Bo Nix, their quarterback transfers. That uh, Bo Nix got better in his junior season. It's great to make fun of him. I support it. All that. He got better his junior year. They got T.J. Finley, who's no disrespect, but he's pretty. He's horrible. They got what was it, Calzada? Did Calzada go to Auburn? Was that right? I may have gotten that wrong. Some other average quarterback went to Auburn. That's not gonna do nothing. It's just wide receivers horrible. Their offensive line, especially after losing Demetrius Robertson, their number one receiver, offensive line is horrible. They don't have a tight end. They lose all their DBs, which is the one was biggest bright spot of their team almost. That and Tank Bigsby. They get a lot of their front seven players back, which that's going to be the carrier this year, I guess. But the front seven is still, unlike other years, it's not even close to the level it is to carry an Auburn team. It's not, no. The offense for Auburn this next season is going to be horrible. The defense will be the defense will be okay. Won't be nothing special, though. I'm assuming Auburn's built their front seven, or at least their defensive line, built it around run stoppers, pass rush. They get pass rush, but you know what I'm saying. Auburn just, they're collapsing. They're collapsing in a nutshell, and it's happening. No offense, an okay defense, a decent defense. Their defense will be pretty decent next season, but it's not going to make them a good team. This legitimately, and I don't make predictions, game by game predictions, certainly I don't. This legitimately can be a 4-win team. I say that with a straight face. This legitimately, if I was forced to pick records today, this legitimately can be a 4, 5, 6, 7-win team. That's probably their range. 7, the most really possible out of some light year. No, I'm not giving them 7. 4, 5, 6. They're likely, honestly, they don't look like they're making a bowl game. Their schedule is not on their side either. It's really not. Georgia and Alabama, just like every single year, you know the drill. Texas A&M's becoming a great team next year. Ole Miss just got their transfers. That's going to make them reload and become a great team next year. Maybe not as good, but they'll be good next year. Mississippi State, Arkansas, they do their business. LSU's still LSUing in the sewers, but and then you got who's Auburn play out of the East? Who is it? Wasn't it I could be wrong, but I think if I'm not mistaken, Auburn's playing. Are they playing South Carolina out of the East? I think that might be who they're. No, they played them last year. Oh, jeez. Doesn't matter. Point is, Auburn is falling apart. Their football program is falling apart. And if Auburn somehow, and maybe, look, the rosters are not finalized yet, so we don't know. We don't know for sure. All I know is at this moment in time, Auburn's football program is falling apart. They just lost the bright spot of their team, Derek Mason, who basically made their defense a lot better than it really was. Their defense was a lot better than it should have been last year. Derek Mason did a great job. He's gone now. You fire Mike Bobo. You're replacing their entire staff. No one wants to coach there. Brian Harsin's not a good coach, in my opinion. He never was. He was not a good hire. Auburn's football program is falling apart. I'm sorry. Good news is Bruce Pearl and your basketball program might win the national championship, although that's for a different video. But in terms of your football program, oh, nice shot. In terms of your football program, it's falling apart. And you might lose tonight. Alabama seems like they're motivated today, which is kind of what I expected against Auburn, arch rival. Yeah, I didn't want to hold y'all long, though. That's really all I had to say. We'll see. You know what? Come back to me in May, and we'll make our final assessment on Auburn. Come back to me in May. I know you don't want to wait that long, but geez, I'm not rushing this thing. Come back to me in May, and we'll see. But Auburn needs some transfer help, and they need a lot of help. A hell of a lot of help. They're not. They realistically are looking like they might be the worst team in the West next year. Them or LSU. Both looking like. Hey, I'm not making a prediction, though. Not this early, but geez. I'll tell you what, though. Auburn's football program is not looking good for 2022, and it is not looking good for the near future. Their recruiting class isn't even Auburn standards. Their recruiting class is not even Auburn standards. What are they ranked? All right, let's go through it. They're below Georgia, below Alabama, below Texas A&M. They're below Tennessee. You're below Missouri. You're below Kentucky. So that's 6. I don't know the other teams that you're below. I know you're below more. In fact, we're gonna check this thing out because we need to see for the future of your football program and everyone else's playing you next year. Come on, we'll see. Hold on. Auburn's recruiting class, though, all I know, wherever it is, the recruiting class is not where Auburn standards are. You're getting out-recruited by Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky. You're getting out-recruited by Missouri, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And God knows those football programs are not elite. Auburn used to be a pretty good program, you know. They were one of the better programs. They were a great program at one point. Okay, let's go through. You're out recruited by Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M. You're out recruited by Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee. 6. You almost got out recruited by LSU. And signing day's not even over. You're at Florida. You're getting out recruited by Stanford, who's gone 4-8 the past whatever amount of years. I'm not buying into it. I know it's, and I'll say this over and over again, make it clear. I know it's February. But Jesus Christ, God knows this team does not look good. On Austin Davis just left, by the way. He actually left. It was today or yesterday at some point. I don't even know what happened. 6-7 last year, 3-5 in the SEC. Granted, you did give up at one point, but no excuses. Let's just look at your schedule. Mercer, San Jose State, Western Kentucky. You're not going to lose embarrassing games. I'll give you that. Penn State, that's more likely a loss. Missouri, that might even be a loss. That's up in the air. LSU is up in the air. Georgia's a loss. Ole Miss is a loss, most likely. Arkansas is likely a loss. Same thing with Mississippi State. Same thing with A&M and Alabama. There's a couple up in the air, but you might even get an upset at one point because Jordan-Hare is a really tough place to play. But you're not going to be an elite team. You're not going to be a good team. You're not even going to be a decent team next year. You're going to be poverty. I'm not trying to destroy Auburn in this video. I don't have many Auburn fans on my channel. In fact, I know most of my channel is filled with Georgia and Alabama fans, which will both be happy that I'm making this video in the first place. Instead of me torturing one or the other. Well, I don't really torture Georgia, which is honestly, that's a little bit of a problem. I got it. But in my defense, I tortured Georgia over the offseason before 2021, and I tortured them after the SEC title. There was nothing to torture Georgia about in their 12-0 run. Nothing. I'm sorry, there wasn't. Send this to Tiger Baskets, by the way. Stephen Curry. I got it. Yeah, but that's all I got to say. I want to join Ballot Stream. I want to watch this basketball game because these are two great basketball teams here. One struggling and could get another upset win. The other looks like the best team in the country. Honestly, I feel like Gonzaga's going to go all the way. Auburn losing the Final Four. Purdue, honestly, the top 14, and Kansas lost last night. Kansas, they're not a top tier team. Before the SEC Big 12 play, it was my tier 1 teams were Auburn, Gonzaga, Purdue, Kansas. I've dropped Kansas out of that. They're not as good anymore. Although, I still think Auburn, I feel like Purdue and Gonzaga honestly, they look a little, well, at least Gonzaga. I feel like Auburn might be second. I don't know. Other than that, though, that's all I really got to say. Sorry, Auburn fans. I know no Auburn fan watches my channel, but I had to make this video. Other than that, though, peace and go dogs. 1980, baby. 1980, what a great time that was. Remember when everybody could type 1980 in the comment section? Remember those days. God's sakes, I need to get a 2021 bottle. Garoppolo wants to be traded to a winner. You're the problem with your team, sir. What do you mean you want to be traded to a winner? Brian Flores suing the NFL. That's going to be my next video, in fact. Well, actually, I don't know, because I don't really want to bring race into my channel. We're having good times over here. I just don't want to get involved in that stuff. It's too controversial. Channel. But I did the outro now, so now I gotta say goodbye. So, peace.